And we are live. Welcome to the Midday Show. It is Friday. No, it's not. It's Wednesday. I don't want to wish this month away. The month is going really quickly. I had an epic gig last night in a really cute theatre in Margate doing stand-up. So I got the train down there because I couldn't be bothered to drive it. And it was lovely. Got into bed at 2 o'clock this morning and then was promptly late for work. So my boss was very cool about it. So there might be some grovelling on this show at some point. Anyway, hope you're doing okay. A very warm welcome to the show, and it is lovely to have you all along. And I'm frantically looking for things now, but that's okay. I don't need that. I can see our first guest waiting in the wings, looking at this organised chaos. And it is the lovely Dr. Bex Winterbourne. Hello, how are you, Dr. Bex?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Yeah, it sounds like a fun gig. I wish I lived near Margate.
Yeah, sorry, did you say you live near Margate? Did I hear that right?
I don't. I said I wish I lived near Margate. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's the cutest little theatre. It's right on the front in Margate, and I've put pictures on my Facebook wall. It's just quaint. Yeah. And it's just really, really cute. Yeah, I was grooving with the Kent mob of comedians who are a lot of fun to hang out with. So I was doing that last night. Welcome to the show, Dr. Bex. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Nice to be here. Please just call me Bex.
Okay, Bex. I have to say I like your jumper. I've been thinking. This is my age now for Christmas. So I'm thinking about asking for a new jumper when we normally try and avoid that for Christmas, but I actually do want one. So
Thank you. Yeah, I kind of was chopping and changing, and we've just had all our heating finally sorted in the house. So I'm toasty warm. I've still got a blanket on my knees, but
just in case.
Just in case. That kind of.
Yeah, just in case. Tell us all about yourself, Bex.
Wow, where to start? Gosh, so I would normally say I'm Bex Winterbourne, vascular surgeon by trade. Right. I'm a doctor. I was a consultant vascular surgeon, but I actually stopped doing that 2.5 years ago. Mm-hmm. I loved my job. I wanted to be a doctor from the age of 7, and everyone thought that was amazing. There'd not been any doctors.
Just for the benefit of those tuned in, what exactly is a vascular surgeon?
Vascular surgeon. So vascular surgeons, we operate on veins and arteries, so the plumbing of the body, essentially. Okay. Everything outside the head and the chest. So we don't operate on the heart, we don't operate on anything in the brain, but everything else in between that's to do with veins and arteries, that's our bag, that's our territory.
Because it runs all through the body like a network, of course, pumping the blood.
It is, yeah, it does. Just like plumbing. Just on
maybe a little bit more complicated than plumbing.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Well, you would say that. You've got the training. Okay, so you gave that up 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, I gave that up.
So why did you give that up? What quantum leap did you take?
Well, I back in 2013, I had been a consultant for 1.5 years, and one of my consultant colleagues, who was an anaesthetist, got knocked off his bike. And unfortunately, I was the vascular surgeon on call. So trigger warning for people listening. I'm going to share a story that may lead to some emotion in people. So just be aware of that, recognise where you are, and know that you're safe. But it's important for me to share, but do that from a place of being trauma informed. So he got knocked off his bike. He happened to be the best friend of our registrar, our trainee working with us at the time. So I had a phone call from him at midday to say, just heard my best mate's been knocked off his bike. He's fractured his pelvis. And I kind of went, oh God, go and be where you need to be. Didn't really think anything more of it. And then 3 hours later, I had a phone call from the theatre saying, we need you here now. And it was split sites, 2 different hospitals in Bristol. So I had to travel from one to the other to get there. Arrived, discovered that it was our friend and colleague, and the whole theatre was just full of, every anaesthetist that I knew. We spent 8 hours trying to save his life, and unfortunately he died.
I'm so sorry.
And after that case, I ended up suffering with post-traumatic stress disorder. Eventually I was sat in my clinic about 4 months later, and I just burst into tears, and I was broken. I was in an absolute pit of despair.
Understandably. I often wonder how many times, wonderful people like you that do jobs like you do, be it yourself, the fire brigade, the police, the ambulance service, anyone who's doing a job like that. You're never there when people are having a good time, are you?
No. Generally not. Although one of the bonuses of being a surgeon and it is that often you are, most of the time, if you're operating, you are hopefully doing it to make people better or to save life.
Of course, that must be the positive side of it.
That's the positive side, but the flip side are there. But it was such a unique and tragic case, and what I hadn't realised, in that 4 months between the case, every time I saw a bike, every time I saw a truck, every time I was operating, every time I saw an X-ray, every time anything related to it would trigger me into this, sense of fear and anxiety, not sleeping, horrendous nightmares. Anyway, I had amazing treatment. I had counselling. I had something called EMDR therapy, eye movement.
I was going to ask if you had EMDR. It's very good.
Amazing.
That and havening are very good for PTSD. That and havening.
Blew my mind.
Very subtle, advanced therapies, aren't they? And it looks to someone watching what was going on, a non-informed person, it would almost look silly. Yes. It would almost. What are they doing? But it's so powerful. It recodes, rewires the neural pathways, doesn't it?
Exactly. I describe it a bit like an old slide reel. And what used to happen, in my brain was it would clunk around and just flip out a random slide, a random image, a random memory. Yeah. And what EMDR does is just put it all back in order. And so everything is still there in glorious Technicolor. I can remember everything in minute detail from the moment I took that phone call to the moment that I, collapsed in my clinic. But it's ordered now. It's ordered. So after that, I got back to work. Eventually, I did love my job again. And then, unfortunately, during the pandemic, I had a maternity case that re-triggered it all. And so then I was reliving 2 cases and working through the pandemic. And again, I hit rock bottom and had times when I would think, I wonder what would happen if I just step off that curb, or I wonder what would happen if I just turn the steering wheel on the car. And I was broken, but I had fantastic colleagues who recognised and supported me. I went off sick again. I had some more EMDR therapy. I also went to an organisation called Practitioner Health, who are an amazing organisation. They are NHS funded, but they get piecemeal funding. And they are there to support healthcare professionals who have challenges with mental ill health
and I think we need to not underestimate how important that is, even in a caring role alone. Carers need care too, and this is like that on steroids. There's a wonderful drive in the forces. I know a great comedian called Jay, and the army came up with an idea to use stand-up comedy to help process the trauma. And he's got a therapy dog, and he goes on stage with his dog. The dog gets more attention than he does. That's the normal joke. But what I'm saying is, there's a great, and he's a very funny comedian. But there's Jay Saunders. But there's a real drive to what. There's more understanding now, isn't there? I think
there is. I think there still isn't enough support. It kind of happens after the event instead of too long after the event, rather than immediately after, to try and.
So in an ideal world, you deal with the crisis and go straight into counselling, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly, and that for me, I think, is what's missing. That there is more now, certainly from the case that I spoke about initially in our local trust. There is now a good programme around support and debriefing. But there's still a lot of stigma attached to it. And so, one of my missions now is going around and talking to people and sharing my story, sharing my experience, and trying to.
I mean, because mental health is so important. Without it, we have nothing. It's just as important as physical health. What I've never failed to understand, what I've always failed to understand, is why is physical health? It's accepted. You break your leg, heals up, and there's no stigma to it. But you say mental health, and why?
Yeah, I just don't know. I guess it seemed to be weak, or that it's something that internally we have either done wrong or not learned or not been given. That means that that's why you then suffer with mental ill health. I don't know. It's a funny old thing, isn't it? And I think
it's a bizarre thing, and it needs to change.
It
needs to change.
It really
so up to present day, I've had a look
Yes.
at your website, and it looks deliciously holistic. I have to say.
Thank you.
Feeling the spiritual vibes of it. It's
definitely.
So,
I think
heart-led. I noticed the phrase heart-led, which is all important. Tell us about what you're doing now.
So off the back of my experiences,
actually, before we do that, how are you now? Are you feeling much better now?
Yes, I'm fine. I always have so November is always a tricky time, but I put a bit of a ritual around the days now, which helps me to sort of give myself permission and time to reflect without kind of feeling like I'm on a downward slope to the anniversary of the days. And that I find that really helps.
Reflection's so important. I mean, I'll talk about it openly on the show. I had a bit of difficulty with mental health about 5-6 years ago. And reflection's important, but back then I was so scared it would just suck me into an abyss.
Yes.
And I thought, I'm not going back there. I mean, it doesn't, but it's the fear of it. And you think I'll never find the light again. I'll never feel happy again. And that was the big fear for me. And if you're watching this on replay or watching it live, it's not the case. That's why we have lots of wonderful conversations like this, particularly on a Wednesday on the Midday Show.
Yeah.
So
you're so right. You're so right. You do. I mean, I remember those times of thinking, gosh, the more if the more I feel it, then maybe it's not going to go away and maybe it'll just stay. But actually, when you do allow those emotions to pass through,
allowance
on the other side.
Allowance is the key word. Yeah, feel it to heal it. Someone rather pithily wrote once. I think I'll just stick that on my fridge. And just to point out, in EMDR, the D stands for desensitization. So and alongside with havening, you still remember it, but it doesn't have the emotional sting attached to it.
No. Exactly.
And that's the key. That's the key. Anyway, so what are you doing now? Tell us all.
Yes, what am I doing now? So I had coaching to help me to decide what I wanted to do, even whether I wanted to go back to work after that case during the pandemic. I decided I did want to go back to work. But the coaching allowed me to be really, really clear on my boundaries and to prioritize my need and not feel selfish for doing that and not feel guilty for putting my own needs first for once.
Yeah, how dare you? How dare you do that?
I know.
Self-care. Oh my God.
But that really changed the way that I thought. And I thought, I'd quite like to do a coaching qualification. I think I didn't know how I was going to use it, but I thought it would help me in whatever I did going forward. And so I did a coaching certificate through an organization called One of Many. I then did their program called Lead the Change. And it was during a retreat of that program that I had a kind of epiphanous moment, a realization that I wasn't meant to be a vascular surgeon anymore. All of my experiences, everything that I had learnt in the kind of 46 years leading up to that point was a gift for me to change my path and create a new chapter. And now I'm a heart-led leadership coach. I coach women within healthcare, not just women, mostly women, some men within healthcare. And I speak to audiences around the power of sharing our vulnerability, sharing our stories, and how would it be, particularly for healthcare professionals, if we've had a difficult experience or difficult case, that we were able to just turn around to the person next to us immediately afterwards and just go, that was a bit.
And I think just little human connection moments like that, they give you permission to feel human. When I was struggling, that was one of the most important things for me. It's allowed. You're allowed to have these feelings. It's allowed to be human. I think people think we're supposed to be made of wood, shove it all down. But actually, that's not clever, because it will come. It's well intended, but it just doesn't work.
It's like a beach ball.
Yeah, and it will come up probably at the most inconvenient time. So, but I think it's also important to say that vulnerability is not weakness. Vulnerability is strength.
Yeah.
Vulnerability is sensitivity. Vulnerability is compassion. Vulnerability is strength. You know what I mean? And openness, which we need to let it pass through. You were saying.
Yeah, no, it really is. And so that's what I do now. I still work in the NHS. I'm still a clinical director within the NHS. When I came back to work in 2020, I developed with some colleagues, our local virtual ward program, our NHS at Home service. So looking after people at home rather than in hospital as an alternative to being in hospital. So
Yes.
half my week I do that, and then a couple of days a week I run my coaching business and see clients one-to-one, and that might be around a transition point where they're thinking maybe a change of chapter is in order. It might be around developing their leadership style and recognizing what their gifts and talents are, because something that I realized as a vascular surgeon, there's a huge stereotype. There are huge stereotypes within medicine and probably any industry, but
okay. Oh, trust me, there is in DJing as well, trust me.
I'm sure. But as a vascular surgeon, as a female vascular surgeon, that was pretty rare back in the day. There are many more now. But I always sort of prided myself on not fitting the stereotype of vascular surgeons. But actually that gets quite exhausting, when you're constantly rubbing up against people who aren't like you, and you feel like you can't express yourself in a way that's truly authentic. That becomes exhausting after a while. So I work
because
with
it's a
people
constant battle, isn't it? Rather than just being yourself, which is presumably the easy thing to do. It's more image management.
It is, and it's and then all the parts come in, the people pleasing part and the what will people think, and I've got to work harder. I feel like I've got to work twice as hard as everyone else to prove myself. So I work with people to support them to recognize that they can show up as themselves, and give them some tools and ways of working through when those annoying voices come in, to recognize why that part of them exists. And it's often around fear. It's an experience that we've had in the past that means that we've needed to please people in order to stay safe. But
I
as
think
we
these
move
strategies we
into
develop,
adulthood,
it's just the way the mind works, isn't it? And I think it's a question of understanding and working with the mind. And when you understand
really is.
the deeper mind, the unconscious, its prime directive is to keep you safe.
It really is. It really is.
To keep you safe. And I always like to use the analogy. It's a bit like, and this actually happened in a war situation. There was a war fought, and the soldiers were still, and it was over. It was done, and the soldiers would still show up on the battlefield every morning. And I like to think of that as the unconscious mind. And it took the sergeant, someone in authority, the conscious mind, in our analogy, to say, "Men, the war's over. You may stand down." And when they were given permission, because the unconscious mind, it's very cooperative. It wants to obey. It's very programmable, cooperative, innocent, I suppose, almost childlike. But it doesn't have it doesn't have the rational function. It's trigger. Exactly. Monkey see, monkey do. It's trigger, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly that. And it's the neurological response to that as well, isn't it? You get so used to being in that state. You talk about those men turning up. They're so used to just feeling that feeling of I've got to be there and I've got to get doing and I've got to, be in the fight. That's what your body recognizes. It's very difficult to then retrain it, and it's practice. So it's working with both the cognitive side of things, but also embodiment. And the work that I do with people is also not only around the parts, but how to learn to embody how your true self and how you want to show up. And again, that takes practice. Weirdly,
it is, because we're so practiced in not doing it. It takes a bit of practice. I mean, when you think about it, it's absurd, isn't it? We've got to practice being ourselves. Yeah. You imagine before we were born, the little meeting of souls. Planet Earth, that looks fun. Where we forget who we are, then we've got to practice being ourselves because we're going to forget. Right. Oh yeah, that would be fun.
I fancy that.
Why we said that would be fun, I'll go there. I'll never know.
So true. So true.
It really, and I'm glad you say embody as well, because I know a lot of people, me included, Bex, that when it comes to matters such as this, spirituality, consciousness, authentic self, all of these, I can hold a great conversation on it. I can hold my own in the conversation. I've read all the books and I know all the terms, you know what I mean? But to embody it, to actually be it, now that's a practice. That is but a joyful practice, isn't it?
It is. It's not necessarily.
The more you are, the more full you are, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But you're right. Going back to the kind of childlike state. I was kind of reflecting this morning and thinking about how strong my inner critic used to be. And I love Brené Brown. I'm listening to her new book at the moment, Strong Ground.
She is the goddess of this, isn't she?
She is. She's my absolute heroine. So
who doesn't love Brené Brown?
So reading her.
Go on, after you.
No. I'm reading her, or rather listening to her book, Strong Ground, at the moment, and she was talking about metacognition, which isn't, it's not a very sexy, nice word, but actually the meaning that the when we can start to have self-awareness and reflect on it and get to the point of being able to be curious about those parts that come in and think of an alternate. So that's, getting away from the inner critic that automatically criticizes to going, that's interesting. Why is that? Why is my brain telling me that? Oh, yes. Okay, right. That comes from that. Right. Okay. I have a choice in this.
Yes. And exactly. Because it gives you, pushing it down and trying to push the inner critic away, again, doesn't really work. But to realize that you have a choice. There was a couple of fun things they do in NLP. Have you done any NLP? Probably.
No, I haven't yet. No, it's next on my list next year.
Do you will love it. You'll lap it up, and none of it will be any surprise to you either, if you know what I mean. People on this path, it's stuff we've been doing all our lives, but just not knowing we're doing it, and it's been documented and scientifically put into usable bite-sized chunks so we can use it. But one of the things they do is parts. So because we hear people say, a part of me wants to do that, and the body language gives it away, and another part, and it's like that. So you get the part and you put it on your palm, both palms, like that. All right, and then you talk to this one. What do you want? Okay, and if you had that, what would that give you? And if you had that, what would that give you? And you chunk it down, and it generally comes down to safety or something like that. Yeah. Contrasted with, that might give me success, that might give me credibility. But you've got to keep safe, but I want to be credible. And then then you kind of bring them together. Yeah. Because they've both got a positive intention, but they need a seat at the table to be able to do that.
Yeah. No, it's similar to the parts work I do. It's called voice dialogue.
I've heard of voice dialogue, yeah.
Yeah. So we talk about holding them in harmony. So rather than kind of playing chopsticks with, 4 or 5 parts, actually, when those parts that you've squashed away, if you allow them to come up to the surface, and what happens with voice dialogue is you talk to that part in third person and you hear from that part, and then you start to explore the kind of the opposite, and you talk to that part, and then you can use a dial and to get people to recognize how they can hold them both in harmony. And it's not about getting rid of those parts, they're all a part of us, they're all facets of us, but you go from playing chopsticks to kind of being able to play the whole 88 keys of the piano.
Yes.
So similar.
I like the analogy. An inner democracy, someone once said to me as well.
Yes, the committee of voices in my head, I call them.
Yes, in the most sane. Was that Helen Sidra Stone that did voice dialogue?
It was, yes.
Go me. See, I've read all the books.
You have. Yeah. Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, they were really good. They were pioneers, weren't they? Helen Sidra.
Oh, absolutely incredible. It's amazing work, and having experienced it a lot myself, and the dream work around it, and you can work with pains in the body. I mean, it's incredible.
You go to some of these seminars where they're practicing these things, and you can see pain of 10 years just disappear. It's miraculous, but and I don't use the word lightly, but it really is miraculous. Have you ever seen? I always talk about this on the show. Derren Brown, Miracle. Have you ever seen that?
I don't know if I've seen that one. He was at university with me here in Bristol. He was
he?
So I saw him in my first year at university. Before he was famous, he did
a show. What was he like?
Amazing. He made a good friend of mine. She volunteered, and he made her believe that she was a washing machine, and then also told her that she would wake up. It was brilliant. She's still, I've seen some of his. I don't know if I've seen Miracles.
I recommend it for this reason, because Derren Brown, as we know, tells everyone he's a fake. He's open about it. He's not trying to fool anyone. He says this is a fake. It's psychology, NLP with him probably, showmanship and misdirection. But nothing woo-woo, nothing like that at all. And he's very upfront about it. So he's in an studio audience, and us watching at home know that he's a fake, but the studio audience don't. And they're quite, shall we say, religious sensibilities. So he convinces them he's an evangelical healer, one of those, lay on the hand. Right. And blow me down, they're getting healings. Pain of 10 years is going. Yeah. And And at that point, that worked me up. I thought, well, if he can do that as a fake, that's the power of the mind, and that's the power that we all have access to. And the whole point of the show is, he says, you want a miracle, it's you.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Oh, I love that. That's giving me goosebumps. That's the thing. You know, the wisdom is
really
all
do
within
it.
us.
If it's on YouTube, watch it. Miracle, Darren Brown. It's just brilliant. Just brilliant.
The wisdom is all within us, and I think so many of these skills, tools, talents, gifts have been over the centuries, over the millennia, have been pushed out of us. Our intuition, our instincts. We've been taught at the time that there's something wrong,
well.
and the fear, huge.
And feared, yeah. People can't start thinking for themselves. Can't have that.
No, and bring groups of women together. Oh, very dangerous.
Women,
very dangerous. Women talking and having ideas.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're laughing about it, but that's not so far from the truth.
Not so far, it really isn't. It really isn't.
Just looking at your website, it's a lovely site. Clarity, leadership skills, a change of direction, contemplating your legacy or path beyond medicine, because you work primarily entirely with medical folks. Abundance, are the team burning out? Rekindle the flame. Group coaching. Are you giving all your energy to others and neglecting yourself? Lacking confidence, worrying about your next decision, on the edge of burnout. So it's pretty comprehensive.
Yep.
Great photos on the site. You look very radiant.
Oh, thank you. Well, I have my beautiful friend Samjana Moon to thank for those. She's an amazing soul, and she took those photos in France last year. I did her Sovereign Rose retreat, which was a week-long one-to-one retreat, but it includes so once you kind of get into this radiant glow, she then has that amazing ability to see right into your soul.
The best photographers they don't take pictures, they capture moments. I take a picture. I can't do it, but I do have friends that can capture. Yeah. Tell a story, picture 1,000 words, and all that stuff.
Yeah, you can just feel it then, can't you? Yeah.
It's been lovely talking to you.
And you.
Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for putting that out there, because anybody could watch this on catch up. Yeah. Maybe they just might find this video at a time they really needed to hear it. And the more people I talk to that have turned the corner and now are radiant and happy again and all these sorts of things, it's just lovely. BexWinterbourne.co.uk if people would like to get in touch with you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, please do. Lovely to lovely to meet you, Neil. Lovely to talk to you.
And you. Whereabouts in the country are you?
I'm in Bristol.
Yeah. Oh, just down the M4. That's nice
not that far away. Yeah, not that way. It's a gorgeous day today. It was an amazing morning this morning. Yeah, that's the thing now. My kids always laugh and joke with me, because the beautiful ice on the windscreen of the car this morning has created these amazing kind of fan patterns, and I'm always in awe and wonder of anything that's so some of it's rubbing off. They like a good sunset and sunrise now, and
you're teaching them well.
Moon. I'm trying.
Teaching them well. Excuse me. I'll send you this footage later.
Thank you.
Email it over to you. Feel free to slice and dice and use for any shameless marketing purposes you want to.
Oh, that's very kind. Thank you.
As seen on the Midday Show, or delete it and never let it bother your inbox again.
Oh, no. It will be there. Absolutely. Thanks ever so much. Thanks for having me on here. Lovely to talk to you.
Dr. Bex Winterbourne, thank you so much. Good afternoon. Take care. I'm going to bring our next guest on. If you want to stay and join in, you're very welcome to. Or if you're mindful of your time, if you need to go, no hard feelings.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to have to dash. But
all right, I'll take you off.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Bye bye. What an absolutely lovely lady, and the first of two. The first of two are spoiling you today. I'm just gonna going to pop the name of our next guest on the stage and just do a couple of comments just before we bring her on. Ian in Surbiton, our resident comedian, as a survivor of DVT, that's deep vein thrombosis, isn't it? My veins say hello. Ian, Surbiton is home of the good life and many other good things. Talking veins is a new one on me. RVB says hello. Hello both. Do you know how to copyright a song? Says Chrissy Richards. No, but I could find out for you, Chrissy. hit me up on the socials after the show. I'm sure we can look into that. And John, hello, how are you doing? John, I'm going to ask you if you want to film our comedy night on Thursday, but I really shouldn't use this forum to do my personal messages. Let's bring our next guest on. Hello, Sarah Turner.
Hello, Neil.
How
Lovely
are you?
to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm always nosy. I always look at people's backgrounds. So I'm seeing a very nice multicolored picture and some nice plant action as well there.
Yeah. One of my lovely creative clients left their day job and pursued a career in art. So he's a full-time artist now. So
fantastic.
Where that comes from.
Fantastic. Flourish.
Yes.
A transformative program designed to support women live more fulfilling lives, reduce overwhelm, rebuild confidence, redefine identity, and redefine your own needs. We were chatting about that with Bex, actually. Self-care and own needs. Tell us all about yourself, Sarah.
Yes. So I am historically, still am, a dialectical behaviour therapist. So I've been in practice for about 20 years now. So not loads of people are aware of DBT, but essentially,
what is it?
Yeah, well, a lot of people have heard of CBT, cognitive behaviour therapy. So it's got elements of that plus some extras. So it focuses on emotion regulation primarily. So it builds up emotional resilience, which is really good for when we're under pressure, being able to cope with stress, life, things that are going on. So it's a specialism really in terms of managing emotions effectively, meeting our needs more effectively, and communication as well, being able to communicate. Because when we're hijacked with emotions, things don't come out right, do they? So
I like the way you said that. Do you mean communicate with others or communicate with parts of ourselves, or both?
Well, a bit of both, really. The communicating with others comes really is the last piece of the jigsaw puzzle, because in order to communicate effectively, we've got to know what it is we want, what we want from it. So it's the whole thing of being more self-aware about how we are, how we're doing, what's going on for ourselves, how to meet our needs more effectively, how to interpret our emotions for what their actual purpose is for, because we tend to overcomplicate them, and to then be able to communicate our needs to others when that's necessary in a more effective way. So
So what are emotions for?
Emotions are for our survival. There are about 7 or 8 basic emotions, and they're all
Anger, sadness,
anger, disgust, fear, envy, jealousy, sadness, shame, guilt, love, and joy. That's more than 7, isn't it? 7 or 8.
Yeah, that's about 9.
Yeah,
now, only two of those are positive. Do we have a negative bias? Do we feel more negative emotion than we should? Do you think?
Absolutely.
Guilt, maybe?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And it's because they're a survival kit. Even the word emotion comes from, well, it's got the word motion, the Latin for to move. So,
Emotere, wasn't it?
Latin, I can't put my finger on it right this second, but yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah. So they're designed to elicit action for survival purposes. So when we have an emotion, we get like an urge that comes with it. So we'll have the emotion itself, we'll have thoughts that usually support the feeling we're having. So if we feel guilty, we're going to have guilt thoughts, like we've done something wrong. That will make more of the feeling. Then we'll have a physiological response. Each emotion has its own unique features, signatures, and then we'll have the urge to do something, and then the behavior itself, which back in the day when man first walked this earth 400,000 years ago was great, because our emotional kit kept us alive for the reasons we have these emotions, where now modern man's only been here for about 400 years, and if we were an iPhone, we need an upgrade. Life is a bit
This
more.
is what I was going to say. We're still operating from very primitive software, aren't
That's
we?
exactly right. That is exactly
Yeah.
right.
It's not that emotions are wrong, but it's that they're not expressed appropriately. Maybe I'm kind of thinking as I go along here. Help me out here.
Yeah. So it's because they're really designed for more physical threats, whereas now in our life, so not obviously there's places on the planet, as we well know at the moment, sadly, that are having physical threats, but for a lot of us, particularly here in the UK, it's more psychological. So psychological threats.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? I think I read in a Paul McKenna book exactly what you're saying. There's, we're not going to be chased by saber-toothed tigers unless you go to a really good pop-up theme thing in London, in which case you might want to be. But in general life, however, the threats are more psychological. An unpaid bill, chewed out by the boss, kids are playing up, someone, a bit of road rage, whatever. But that triggers us into fight or flight, and we're spending too much time there, and there's nowhere for that emotion to go. So we store it all up. Which isn't the best thing to do, and then it can either come out inappropriately or in an extreme case maybe even make us ill, and that's where we need the upgrade. It's the management skills, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the foundation, if you like, of the therapy model that I use. And now targeting women in midlife, because as you can probably see, I am one, and it comes with its own unique challenges. Obviously menopause is a big thing, all the emotional turmoil that can come with hormonal shifts, but it's not the only thing. There are other things. So I have spoken to women, done some research, focus groups, and pulled out 6 main areas that they have told me are problematic. So they tell me that at this time of life they're feeling more overwhelmed. So overwhelm can be an issue. So that will spike the cortisol and adrenaline and everything that you've just mentioned, really, and lead us, if we don't get on top of it.
Which was only supposed to be spiked for a very short time.
That's exactly
if the saber-toothed tiger jumped out on you, you'd fight or flight, which would burn it off. But now it's got nowhere to go.
Absolutely. We don't complete that fight or flight cycle anymore. We're just sort of static, and then produce more worry thoughts, whatever the threatening thoughts are, and off we go, and when we carry on. So overwhelm is a biggie. Changes in identity, getting older, our roles are shifting about. Children potentially are going to university, leaving home, they're maybe less dependent, but it depends, doesn't it? So, and then looking after our parents, potentially career shift. It's quite a transitional time in many areas.
Many ways,
Yeah. So we've got
and all coming at once, but or in a very short period of time as well.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, it does feel like that, I'm not sure whether I've noticed that it can sort of suddenly be upon you, all this change, but I don't know whether.
I haven't thought about it in that way before. I mean, I've heard of all these things, obviously, and you've got some more to tell us, but I never considered before now, actually, that they all come in a very short space of time.
Well,
which in and of itself will be overwhelming.
Whether it creeps up and you don't notice until you do, there's a potential for that. Lack of confidence, so losing confidence in areas where perhaps we didn't think twice about doing things. Driving seems to be the big one, or feeling less competent at work. That can be to do with the hormone shifts, brain fog, and all of that. Can undermine our confidence, so we don't feel as competent perhaps, or we get overlooked for the wisdom and skill set that we do have. So that can impact confidence. Another big one is self-prioritization. A lot of ladies I speak to seem to struggle to say no and do something for themselves, to prioritize their own needs. They tend to put other people first, whether that's just come from our culture or parenting, looking after others, nurturing.
I think it's the nurturing instinct, but has been somewhat, if I can use the word, bastardized, possibly for other people's agendas.
Yes,
if you know what I mean. No one should have to do it all. That's ridiculous. you know,
Yeah.
and of course it's natural that women will have a nurturing instinct, of course, but that was never meant to be used to the point of burnout. And someone very close to me is very like that. You know, I love
See,
it
the
dearly.
thing is, it's
For
sort
goodness
of
sake, learn how to receive. Take a compliment, for God's sake, you know.
absolutely.
Not there.
I think it's sort of, would it be kind of frowned upon? This is what the unexpected thing I found is that people, the women that I've spoken to, don't like to admit that perhaps it's a struggle. They're pivotal in the running of things, juggling everything, and it becomes normalized. That's what we do. So we don't sort of validate perhaps the load that we do carry, the emotional load, practical loads, whatever, logistical loads, careers and things. So it gets normalized, and that's kind of all, that's what we do. And it's selfish to do something else other than that, to say no. Well, actually, no, I'm not going to do that for you because I'm going, I went to a spa on Saturday and loved it. Whereas, and I don't see that as an indulgent luxury. I see that as actually,
how dare you? Goodness me, you how dare you?
You know,
well, we have the last guest talking about self-care. You going to the spa? This is the problem in the world today.
You know what? The upshot of that is I'm going to have a massage once a month, and that is for maintenance reasons.
That's quite right too. So we say it loud and clear again. We said it before you came on. Self-care is not selfish.
No, it's not, and I think
it's necessary. It's really necessary.
Term that's got kicked about and overused and perhaps trivialized a bit, and actually, you know, it's so important. You cannot pour from an empty cup. But yet, women, I think, will feel guilty, and this is where my emotion regulation stuff can come in, because when guilt shows up, the urge is to give into it, to people please, to, you know, put ourselves last, whatever, and feel guilt in apologizing for things. And actually, I've got a skill set that will enable people to recognize when guilt shows up, to check whether it is actually serving its purpose, because its purpose actually is to make a repair to a relationship when we transgress. That's its only function. So oftentimes, you know, we can check the facts of a situation and see that, okay, I might feel guilty, and whilst I feel it and I'm experiencing the behavioural urges that go with it, I know it not to be true. Just because I think it, just because I feel it, does not make it fact. So I can put a pause in.
Yeah, taking your thoughts and feelings with a pinch of salt, or with awareness. And I think I would wager 99.9% of guilt that people feel is completely unnecessary.
Yeah,
because you're right. I mean, I think it's wonderful that you went for a spa, even though we're joking about it. I think it's a brilliant thing. You know, massage every month.
That's my new regime now. That's the takeout from that experience.
Yeah. But the corollary of it, I can never say that word, is if you fill your own cup, you then overflow, and you can give from a point of fullness, and then you can experience the joy of giving rather than the drudge of having to give from an empty place again, you know.
And for those of us that have children, you know, most mums just want the best for their children. We want our children to thrive, prosper, and be happy. What are we modeling for them? Are we modeling putting ourselves last? So you're modeling something healthy.
Exactly.
And
absolutely
valuing themselves. So so that was the self-prioritization. And also the other thing I've noticed is assertiveness. Women are saying they struggle to have a voice, particularly perhaps in clinician settings when it comes to matters of HRT, menopause and things. So, and again, you see, if you're plagued with guilt, saying no because you feel like you're doing something wrong or selfish, it will get in the way of being able to hold our boundaries and say no.
Is this a bit of good old-fashioned sexism, you think, at play?
Would that be a bit risque to comment on that? Possibly there might be some of that still about. I mean, we are getting closer to equality, aren't we? But we're not there yet.
I mean, particularly with women's issues that affect women directly, like menopause. they should have the greater voice on it, shouldn't they? Because they're the ones experiencing it. You know, I mean, indirectly, it affects the men as well, because we're in a relationship with you guys. And I believe that men need to know about these things. My girlfriend took me to a menopause event. It was run by a comedian.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh,
and she was,
that was brilliant.
Apart from the barman, I was the only man in the room. And yes, I was picked on, but I didn't care.
Were you like this? Like
no, I was loud and proud, and I didn't even care. And it was very well. It was informative, but very funny as well, and it was done very, very well. But that is interesting. I was the only man in the room, and I'm sure many of the women were in relationships, and it doesn't hurt for their partners to know about this stuff.
Well, you know, when an emotional bit of leakiness comes about, we're not doing it deliberately just to be spiteful.
No.
You know, when the load becomes great and we're struggling, we get a bit, I call it being leaky. So you might get on the rough end of the stick sometimes, or witnessed, you know, emotions and things that you think, well, I'm not sure I understand that. And like you say, that there are reasons for it, and so it's about getting educated, really, isn't it?
I do try and understand. I think that can happen in all relationships. I think, hang on, I didn't directly cause that. What have I done wrong? But that's my guilt kicking in. You know what I mean? And it's not a question of having done something wrong. It's just a question of it's all about understanding and awareness, isn't it?
Yes.
So they're the main areas that you work with.
And there's one more that they told me, which was connection. Women are finding that they sometimes feel a bit lonely, and I think it could be to do with all of the spinning plates. We're time poor, energy poor, so maintaining our friendships can be tricky, and also changing our values. Yes, I believe that old friends are the best. I have got a few, but actually there was also a place for new friends to continue making connections based on where you're at in your life now and what you have in common today, rather than just the history element that keeps you together. I think it's really important continuing to make connections meaningful. Women are saying, well, I want more meaningful connections now, deeper relationships. So, you know, what I thought was important when I was 25 is not going to be the same. My values are completely different.
As they should be, because we're all evolving beings, aren't we?
Exactly right. So it's kind of like a time of realignment in so many ways. And the model that I practice is didactic. It lends itself so well to being able to pick it up. Is practical. You teach it, pick it up. I can teach you a concept. You can go away and practice it straight away. Now, I'm a troubleshooter as well. So like with everything, it's a learning curve. We have to go away and practice something, come back and go, actually, Sarah, that didn't work quite right. And I'll investigate, and then I'll go, I think I can see why. Try this. So it's a really accessible, effective way of.
I like tools like this because it's personal development. There's no question about it. Quite right. But it's accessible, like you say. It's and science based as well. Even a lot of the spiritual tools, like meditation, for now example, that's science. You know, that's not dressing in robes, being with a monk in Tibet anymore. Far from it. You know, it's practical, measurable as well. We've got machines that can measure it now, which is extraordinary.
Absolutely, I know. Yeah. So this particular model, dialectical behaviour therapy, has elements of Zen in it, mindfulness based. So, but it's but it's adapted to be used as a skill. So you've got the more traditional types of mindfulness, as you've mentioned already, meditation, mindful breathing, yoga, things of that nature. What DBT therapists do is take that philosophy, adapt it, and use it as a skill where we can practice where we put our attention, rather than being troubled by intrusive thoughts, worry thoughts, overwhelm and things like that. When the demands are high, being able to anchor on to the demand in front of us and stay there comes with awareness practice and mindfulness practice on the fly, basically on the go. So you don't have to chalk out half an hour of your day and get up extra early. For who's going to do that? We're all so busy. So it's
an upgrade again, isn't it? It's operating at a higher level. And I think that where mindfulness plays, and if I'm right, tell me if I'm wrong, but it's having that observer point of view.
Absolutely. You become
the non-judgmental observer who can look. That's really key. I think John Kabat-Zinn he's the godfather of mindfulness.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
He brought so much to it, but he always says, focus on the situation at hand. Don't turn away from it, turn towards it, but observe, but non-judgmentally.
Yes.
It's not right. It's not wrong. It's just what it is. Don't resist it.
And that's like, it's easy said, but quite hard to do, because what our brains do is add an extra. So we take in information from our environment through our senses, and then what the brain likes to do is apply an interpretation, assumptions and meanings to it, and usually they're not complementary. They will be self-critical, judgmental, and then what happens is our emotional response mirrors the interpretations. It will match the interpretation rather than the actual event itself. 9 times out of 10 we're responding to the meaning that we make of things.
But we're giving it, but we don't realize we're giving it. We think that's the way the world is.
Well, it's the self-invalidation and criticisms and things, I think, that can really do a damage. We feel that we're not doing enough. I should be more than, or why am I tired? Why am I struggling? What's this emotional stuff all about? What's going on with me? I shouldn't be. We should all over ourselves, basically, and then we add on another layer of suffering. We can't eliminate. This is another mindfulness thing. We can't eliminate natural pain. We need it, actually. But what we tend to do with our minds is turn that into suffering. So we intensify it and then add another layer, which quite frankly just gets in the way and causes unnecessary suffering that doesn't help us. So being more aware of that, being self-compassion, loving kindness is so important. And again, it's easy said, but putting it in practice when you've got societal expectations, your own expectations, perfectionisms, demands, and it is a judgmental world, especially.
It's not that we can't learn. We can all learn new things. But I was speaking to Bex about it beforehand. She said exactly, she very much echoes what you say. It's crazy how we've trained ourselves not to do it. But the good news is, if we've trained ourselves so well not to do it, we could also train ourselves to do it. But it is a practice. It's flexing a muscle, isn't it?
Yes, I think the other thing with emotions, as and when they come along and grab us, is that they give, and by their very nature, they're intended to have a sense of urgency, because if it's about survival, we haven't got time to hang about. It wants action now. So you can get kind of convinced that, oh my goodness, this needs dealing with now. This is mega urgent. Oh my God. But actually, if you can tolerate and put a pause in and just stop and observe and assess the situation, what actually is happening, take a breath and a step back and evaluate. Sometimes you don't actually need to do the action. Sometimes if you can hold it for long enough, the problem will solve itself.
Yes.
So it's opening up a crack of time between what we feel like doing and what we actually do.
Who's that brilliant teacher? Michael Neal. Have you heard of Michael Neal?
No, I haven't.
Oh, he's brilliant. He's a mate of Paul McKenna's, and
look him up. Oh, because you do NLP, don't you?
NLP he started with, but then he discovered. Have you heard of the 3 principles? Probably.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
He's got an acting background, and he's described as the best thing that's happened to the 3 principles, because the talks he gave are absolutely brilliant. If you can find a talk, Michael Neal talking about the 3 principles, but he talks in his earlier work. He would talk about this cause, reaction, effect, and that's what you're talking about. That instant, that it's got to be done now. And you're right, there is an urgency. I'm always saying to my girlfriend, who I love dearly, slow down. It can wait. No, it can't. And I'm like, yes, it can. And I think this is gender difference. I think that's just bloke being bloke. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And she's been a woman about it. I don't mean that in a sexist way, but just a gender different sort of way.
Yeah.
You know, and I love her dearly. But he put an extra component in: cause, reaction, choice.
Yes.
Okay.
This is what it's all about, rather than becoming reactive, feeling a bit more in control, looking at other options so we can make choice. There will always be some wriggle room to improve a situation. Yes, the reality is what it is. In some situations, people are really having challenging times. And at the same time, there is always a bit of wriggle room to make things improve the situation for yourself, make you feel a little bit more in control.
And at times you do need that instant reaction. On occasion, it
Oh,
does serve you.
absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
When that car cut us up the other day,
Yes.
my friend had to swerve, and if he hadn't had that instant, you know, so it's not a bad thing. It's just being aware. You know,
that's exactly what it's intended. That is the function of fear. It's like, oh, something happens, takes your breath away. You have that reaction. It's to keep us alive. So yeah, 100%. So they're not bad. They're just there to keep us alive, and it's just working out. You know,
so it's awareness, not judgment.
Yes, 100%. Yes.
It's been lovely talking to you.
Oh, thank you, Neil. I could prattle on for another hour.
well, we'll have you back to prattle some more another day.
Fantastic. Thank you so
definitely
much.
do keep in touch. If people would like to learn more about your work, because you do some wonderful work, and it's all about. Let's have a quick look at your website. It's sort of flourishing, I think, is the key. And you do for individuals, and you say in the business world as well.
Yeah, empowering women, putting ourselves back on the map of our own lives, tackling the overwhelm, meeting like-minded people. So my group work is very small, intimate, closed groups. I also do one-to-one work. So yeah, I'm very accessible. So please do, if anybody wants to know more, please reach out. But my socials are on my website as well. So
that's absolutely brilliant. Sorry, I got distracted there. I'm just telling my friend that I'm on air. He knows I'm on air. What's he doing calling me? Should have been tarred and feathered as a warning to others. Brilliant. Okay, well, you take the best of care, Sarah. I will send you this footage later. Feel free to delete it from your inbox and never let it darken your cyber world again. Or slice
not at all.
and use it for shameless. Use it freely for shameless marketing purposes, as seen on the Midday Show.
Thank you so much, Neil. It's an absolute joy to meet you, and I hope we get to talk again.
Keep in touch, and if you want to put back another time, there's always a forum for you here.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. You have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Sarah. All the best.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Good afternoon. Bye-bye. Right, what a couple of absolutely wonderful women we talked to today. A couple of comments before we go. Brian Kingsford, listening in, currently off work sick. Oh, mate. Well, I hope you feel better soon, and I hope the conversation has been interesting. And all the very best to you and your lovely lady. So lovely to hear from you, sir. Ian in Surbiton. I love this. I'm not equal to my wife, and woe betide anyone who says she is. Lol. yeah. Thin ice, Ian. Thin ice. And I love this. I love that. This is typical Surbiton snobbery. I'm in the current Good Life newspapers. It might reach the Tolworth colony. Colony? Is that what you think of us? Obviously, I only work in Tolworth. I'm actually in New Malden. Ian, which is vastly superior to Surbiton. You can take your white picket fences and stick them where the sun. No, anyway. I really hope we meet in person one day, and I'm sure we banter all afternoon. I love that. It's really made me laugh. The Tolworth colony, brilliant. Russ Kane and the gang going to be back on Friday with Phil, the king of the cravat. Russ, who's back, is getting better, I'm pleased to tell you. Jonathan Baz, theatre critic, and Chantal Ricards, esteemed TV critic. And there's so much good stuff to watch on TV. It's nice to have someone to curate it all for us. And the lovely Chantal does that very, very well. In the meantime, it's been a really good show. Really enjoyed spending this time with you. If you're watching the replay, I hope you got some value out of it tonight. I say tonight, you can be watching anytime. Here's the websites again. Bex Winterbourne, who was on first, Dr. Bex Winterbourne, and Sarah Turner, both with their own separate fantastic lines of work, but kind of connected in a way as well as all these personal development things are. There's many routes to the mountaintop, shall we say. And I'll meet you there. Good afternoon. This has been Neil Long. I'll catch you on Monday. Take care. I've got to press the button and do a cheesy grin. Hold on.